Wish Upon was supposed to be the horror movie of 2017, and although it was directed by John R. Leonetti of Annabelle fame, it's one that unfortunately fell flat with audiences across the globe. Luckily for you, we're here to explore the standalone film on your behalf. So if you ever wanted to learn more about Wish Upon without watching it yourself, you've definitely come to the right place. But beware, as spoilers await. One quiet morning, a woman by the name of Joanna Shannon exits her suburban home and dumps a wrapped-up object in the trash. Clearly upset by her actions, she leaves her daughter Claire to ride her bicycle on the street alongside the family dog, Max. But after a while, Claire returns home to discover Joanna hanging in the attic with the circular window above her head giving off the appearance of a grim halo. An older Claire then wakes up from this torturous nightmare, showing that the death of her mother has plagued her since the incident happened years earlier. Now, under the watchful eye of her father, Jonathan, Claire leaves the house on a bike similar to the one she had before, stopping only to say hello to her neighbor, Mrs. DeLuca, and another passerby called Uncle August. Darcy, a popular girl at her school, almost knocks Claire over in her brand new car, laughing the collision off as if it was nothing. After swerving to avoid the accident, Claire scrapes her knee open in front of Uncle August's home, and when she sees her father and his friend Carl dumpster diving at her school, she quickly goes over to beg them to stop. This conversation quickly pivots to how Claire got injured though, and upon hearing that she fell outside of Uncle August's house, her father jumps to conclusion and bans her from going anywhere near him. She doesn't know why, but something clearly happened between her father and Uncle August in the past. Claire finally joins her two best friends, June and Meredith, in school where she helps them to hang up a school banner they worked really hard on. Just then, Darcy slings her drink at the banner, causing her friend Tyler to burst into laughter. Upset by the second Darcy incident in a row, Claire is comforted by another friend, Ryan. But this will they won't they energy doesn't stop Claire from staring at her schoolyard crush, Paul. Later on in the day, Claire confronts Darcy about her terrible attitude, which results in the girls getting into a physical altercation with one another. Luckily enough, Paul is there to break the fight up though, and Claire quickly leaves school to recuperate at Mrs. DeLuca's home. While this was happening, Jonathan and Carl stumble upon a strange musical box while dumpster diving away from the school. A musical box Claire may appreciate when he gets home. Once there, Claire finds the Chinese-styled musical box lying on her bed, and she quickly begins examining it for the intricacies that form part of its design. This leads to her discovering that the strange antique can grant its user 7 wishes. But in true horror movie fashion, she throws the idea away as being beyond the realm of possibility. Not 2 seconds later, Claire is directed to social media where Darcy has posted a video of her and Claire fighting along with a picture of her father digging through the trash. Tired of being picked on, she throws her rationality aside and wishes for the youngest teenager to rot. After noticing how Max doesn't want to come into her room anymore, Claire later goes to sleep, and that's when the musical box opened, playing an eerie melody while various cogs shift within. The next morning, Darcy awakes with a bacterial infection that makes her skin appear rotten. She quickly is rushed to the hospital, leaving the school talking about her condition. This causes Claire to stop, wondering whether her wish had actually come true or not. At home, once more, she takes a photograph of the Chinese characters on the box and then begins to wonder where Max is. After searching for some time though, she stumbles upon his body being eaten by rats. Since Max was a gift from her mother, the death hits Claire hard, but she later discovers that the characters on the box are written in ancient Chinese, which Ryan's cousin can translate. That evening, Claire makes her second wish, which is for Paul to fall in love with her. The next day, Paul flagrantly flirts with Claire in front of his girlfriend Lola, and we witness Uncle August slipping in his bathtub where he eventually bleeds to death. This leads to a conversation between Claire and her father in which he promises her that they wouldn't be in Uncle August's will, and so she wishes that her mother's uncle would have left her everything. Unsurprisingly enough, this results in Jonathan being contacted about the bequeathment, with Claire being the sole heir. It doesn't take long for the family to move into their new home and spend some of Uncle August's money, but Claire finally witnesses the musical box opening and play its eerie melody. Unbeknownst to her, Mrs. DeLuca accidentally turns her garbage disposal on, and with her hair caught tightly within it, her neck is suddenly broken by the force. Claire and her father then have a conversation about her deceased mother, from which she learns that Joanna actually had a pretty rough childhood. After having a nightmare about the musical box, Claire wakes up to see the shadow of an intruder, but when she investigates, she finds absolutely no one. This prompts her to quickly take the box to Ryan's cousin, Gina, who informs her that the wishes will come to an end when the box is abandoned by the user. It once belonged to a woman named Leonetti, whose family died after being quarantined in a train during the times of the bubonic plague. Claire also discovers that May later killed herself. After finding her father dumpster diving again, Claire wishes for him to be less embarrassing, and when Gina finally discovers the meaning behind the lettering she sent to her friend, she falls impaling herself on a statue's horn. The next day, Ryan informs Claire that Gina is dead, and the characters on the box translated to, "The blood price will be paid when the music ends." Claire also lies about making any further wishes, leaving Ryan waiting around as she goes over to her new boyfriend, Paul. At home once more, Claire wishes to be the most popular girl in school, and after attending a party where she's treated like the MVP, she dreams of taking her mother's place in the attic. She then awakes to see someone photographing her, but when she rushes outside, she discovers only her father. She then hides the music box, not fully aware of just how dangerous it can be. After finally discovering the body of Mrs. DeLuca, she tells her friends all about it. Rather than throwing the music box away as instructed, she holds onto it a bit longer, though having hearing her father playing the saxophone again. Claire then goes to the senior scavenge with her friends, and while making out with Paul, discovers that he's been the one spying on her from a distance. Unwilling to put up with that type of behavior, she breaks up with him, but Paul responds by saying that he won't let her go. The box opens again, and after getting stuck in the elevator, Meredith quickly plummets to her death. Blamed by June for keeping the box, Ryan takes Claire to his home where he shows her that the unidentified numbers on the box are actually the military ID of Arthur Sands, who took his own life after making some wishes. The box then found its way to Lawrence Hart, who lost his mind after experiencing a few tragedies and later died in a fire. Claire also finds out that the demon behind the box will take her soul once the last wish has been made. Hell-bent on destroying it, both Claire and Ryan fail, forcing Claire to keep it in the vent as usual. But a few days later, Claire notices that the musical box is missing. The bank then repossesses the home after coming to the conclusion that Uncle August had never paid his taxes, which makes sense after Claire discovers that June had actually stolen it from her. The girls wrestle over the box, causing June to go tumbling down the stairs, and when Claire is scolded by Ryan, she threatens to use one of her wishes against him. Once home, she wishes that her mother had never killed herself, which sees Joanna returning in time for her birthday, along with 2 younger daughters. This leads to Carl accidentally killing her father though, which Claire sees after realizing her mother used to own the music box. So she wishes to go back to the day when Jonathan found it. She accompanies him to the dumpster dive and finds the box, giving it to Ryan with the instructions that it should never be used. She also kisses him for good measure, but it is quickly knocked over by Darcy's car, killing her instantly. Fast forward some days later and Ryan discovers what the music box can do, smiling because of the possibilities that it brings with it. And there you have it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and punch that notification bell for more content like this.